Hi, good morning, everyone. This is Gail Minogue again. So glad you're here. I'm going to be speaking about some interesting subject today. I just call it the secret sacred science because there's so much information out there that has to do with the invisible world. Not only does numerology and all these other ologies come from astrology and all that, but there's a lot of information that is never spoken about and it's really not taught. I just want to mention some of this. I'm going to be doing a Zoom program October 15. Join us. You can hear more of this information. I'll be talking about 90 minutes there about some of this. So I'm going to touch on it today, and I want to touch on reincarnation, and I want to touch on some of the details of it and the dying process and all of that. Because most people don't really talk about the dying process. They're terrified usually. And a couple of things that you want to remember when you are born, okay? That this is not your natural home. This is a place you have come, I call it being a tourist, but you have in your mind a big attachment to it because that's what we do. We come here and we enter and then we exit. And then later on, we'll do it again. But for the most part, this is an opportunity while you're here. Usually this maximum we stay is about 120 years. And so you want to think of your midlife as being 60. I've said that so many times. But the process of coming in is planned prior to your birth. And what you will be called is your actual, what we'll call formula or blueprint. Or code that you're going to be working with your entire life, and that is in your name. Okay, so that process of planning and getting here, all of that is really work, but the name you choose is actually the code. And this code or name is impressed upon your parents' subconscious to give to you. Prior to that, you are deciding whether you will come in as a female or male. And as your energy and the atoms are all being congealed and put together for you to present yourself as a fertilized egg, shall we say, you have been already diagnosed there as male or female. And how you develop is either the energy will enter from the bottom or enter into the top. And in order for it to, if it's spiraling in the top, then you're going to have usually a full head of hair, big chest or breasts, and as the energy enters lower into the body, the organs become more hidden and smaller. So this is the female. All the lower organs are internal. If it is entering from the bottom, energy spiraling from the bottom, the larger part will be the organs are extended or outward, as the penis and all of the other organs, they are, as it travels north, the breast is smaller and flatter, and the tendency for the full head of hair is not as prevalent in the male. So these are just avenues of how, when we're coming in, the process is spiraling in and out. Everything here is a spiral. If you just look at your bathroom sink or the kitchen sink, or everything is spiraling here. Look into the sky and you see the galaxy. You see it is a spiral. So this is how energy and movement operates here in a spiral direction. So everything spirals in, spirals out. So the time you are here, remember, you don't belong here. This is only a place you come to learn, and you come to learn emotional energy and work with it, and you come to learn free will choice. Now, how long you stay has been determined by you and your soul. Not your personality, but your soul. How long you decided, how long you want to stay or want to leave, that is all up to the soul. It is not up to another person to tell you or whatever. And it's very interesting. Some souls will come in here for 2 days or 2 months or 2 hours, and the parents can't understand what that was all about. Sometimes the soul only had to get here for the lesson of the parents. Sometimes the soul will stay 100 years. It depends on the situation it created prior to birth. And we are not privy to that. But what the telltale signs are definitely in the name and in the date of birth. So all this information is available to you, but nobody bothers to figure it out. And most of the ancient science has been lost or is not taught. But the ancients knew this, and they had this information. It's very basic information. So you understand, do not get attached here. Visit, use it, learn, but don't be afraid to finally detach and let go. And that's what happens to people. They're terrified. They don't know how they're going to get out of here. They know how they got born, but they don't know how they exit. So they create these, what I'll say, acceptable methods. One is cancer, one is heart disease, which are very, very prevalent around the world. This is one way that we get out. It's normal, it's customary. And you don't have to go that way, but that's one of the most chosen ways. And then, of course, there's accident, war, and all these other avenues to exit. Now, remember, when you are born, you're given the physical body. Depending upon the condition, what you decided before birth, you would take on. What kind of body will you have? For the most part, a body should be treated like a fine racehorse. That means that you have been given one racehorse only at birth, and you must take care of it very, very well and respect it. The body is always, always listening to what you're telling it. If you say you don't like your hair, and you continue to say, I don't like my hair, you will have hair problems, or you will lose your hair. And again, the body is always listening. If I'm fat, or if I'm ugly, or if I'm whatever, it is listening. So you need to be very respectful of your physical body and stop abusing it so that it can last and do the things that your soul said it wanted to do here, wanted to learn here, etc. The ego personality, which you have, which you need to have, is always operating, but you're not controlled by your ego personality. The soul is on its journey, and the soul, when it leaves, will take what it learned with it. The whole essence and the senses go with it. Now, when you are given your body, your physical body, you need the physical body because this is a very dense population, dense area, dense energy here. So this is one reason why we have a dense body. And so we call it the physical body. But inside the physical body are two other bodies. One is the etheric body, which is, some people can see it if they're very gifted or have spent time learning how to see the etheric body. And the other is the astral body. These are located inside your physical body. Okay? So your body that's walking around here, going to the store, going to Trader Joe's, going to Costco, going to Walmart, has always two bodies inside it. So when you finally drop the physical body in whichever way you chose to drop it, that was up to you, okay? And there are no accidents here. There's just things we can't figure out. How could that be? What a coincidence, gee whiz. They met on the corner, or it was a head-on collision, and they all died. What was that about? So the idea that when we leave, a couple of things you must remember. That you didn't belong here in the first place. You came in here to learn on a blueprint, and once you have decided to go, you will go, and you will leave the physical form, which you no longer need, but you do need the astral body, so you can continue to travel and go into other levels of consciousness, and you need the etheric body, which keeps the whole show going. The etheric body, the energy or light body, is connected to the divine power source. So that power source is fed to you through the breath. Remember, if you stop breathing, you die. So the etheric body is fed to you through the breath. So it is important to stop thinking that, remember people say, I'll catch my breath, I'll catch my breath. You always want to be aware of your breath and breathing properly. But the breath is what connects you to the main force of the universe. So the etheric body is always with you. The astral body, which is the light body, which has all the senses, etc., of the physical body, but it doesn't have the physical body, but it allows you to travel. It allows you to do things you cannot do here on earth. So when you leave, you didn't die, you just dropped this structure, the clothes, the bones, the teeth. You drop the structure that you had been using here. So don't get too caught up in the physical body other than to take very good care of it and to be willing to really detach from all the garbage that you've attached yourself to. So that means you really need all this stuff that you own. Remember, when you go, you take nothing but your senses and what you've learned here the entire time. This is a big growth experience. Remember, the two things you are to learn here is free will choice. So stop looking for others to tell you what to do. Stop looking to people to say, well, I think you should, or maybe blah, 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 whatever. And stop going to the invisible world and saying, I don't know what to do. Point me there. Tell me what to do. They gave you, or say the invisible sources that help set you up, gave you free will choice. You are to choose. So that's one of the lessons, is learning to choose properly, and then also managing yourself emotionally. You're not to manage or save anybody, ever. And a lot of people make the mistake, I'm going to save them, or save this, I'm going to save my child, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Now, once a person is 18, you let them go. Whether they screw up, do stupid things, they learn now on their own. It takes approximately 30 years to get out of childhood, but the 18th is the point. 18 years of age is where you allow them to make decisions. They may not agree with you. You can still try to guide them, but you can't make them do certain things anymore that you could through that earlier years. But childhood does take 30 years to get out of. So when people tell you they're ready to take on the world, nobody's ready to really take on the world until they have integrated themselves enough, and that takes about 30 years. So key things I want you to take away from this today is that you really don't belong here. You're a visitor. You chose to be here. So don't blame your parents. You came through these people because you chose them before birth. Whether they're rotten, bad, fabulous, great, whether you had to go to other parents, whatever the setup was, you were learning and growing in experience, and you set it up. Now, you have free will choice inside your blueprint. You have free will choice inside your blueprint. Remember, you had a blueprint coming in. You have free will choices. Will I do that blueprint? Yes or no? Some people don't. I have brilliant people homeless. I have brilliant people on Skid Row. Brilliant. Their charts are brilliant. And they didn't do anything, or they fell into drugs. Or because for the human here, it's not easy. Look at it. It's very tough being human if you become attached here. Because once you become attached here, you follow man-made competition, and you try to stay up with this or stay up with that. You forgot the rules of nature. You don't work with the natural rhythm. You work in an artificial world which doesn't remember how to work with the natural rhythm because the ancient teachings have been dismissed. So my job, this is what I said I would do, is I will try to bring as much knowledge that I have to you to help you to understand that this is a place. This is not your whole life. You have many more lives to live, okay? That your biggest fear will be, how do I leave? Or what do I leave behind? Or how much money do I leave my kids? Or how much money will I need to retire? Or will I run out of money? Because the world here is just so competitive. Once you can go beyond the world of competition, once you can get out of it and work at the invisible plane with your source, you will find life is so much easier and more relaxed. And basically, everybody wants peace of mind. That's what they want. They'll tell you they want money, but they really want peace of mind. Because after you make enough money, you will worry about losing it or not using it well. So what you really want is peace of mind. And what will bring that to you is that connection and that remembrance of my true source, never disconnecting yourself, staying connected through the breath, respecting the physical body so you can move. The worst thing you'd have, one of the worst things here is to be here and trapped in a body that doesn't work. It doesn't work, and I see it all the time. My husband had a severe brain injury through an accident, and he is now trapped in a body that doesn't work, but his mind still works. So you can imagine losing all of that independence and being stuck here. So what I am saying is never be afraid of leaving, never be afraid of detaching from your stuff, okay? Because eventually you have to anyway. But make your life, remember, figure out what did you come here to do, when, your timing, everything is in your name and date of birth. Your astrological blueprint is in your name and date of birth. Because if you look at the universe and you look at it as a sacred geometric grid, which it is, it's all in order. Remember that one of the first laws of the universe is divine order. Everything's in order. Otherwise, planets and asteroids would just land on top of each other all the time. And that we cannot see past our own galaxies. We can't travel past there because we don't know how, and we're in heavy bodies in heavy, heavy conditions. Once we are out of here, we can travel and explore universes and past universes and go more to a galactic center and go into areas of consciousness that we can't possibly consider here. We have no idea here. So scientists who say they want to get to Mars will bully and goody, and I'm sure they'll learn a lot, but they're still stuck in the same orbit, okay? They can't get beyond it. And until we advance and start working with the invisible world, we will not. But remember, this is temporary. Your consciousness is what counts, and you will go to other levels of consciousness once you leave here. So that's what's important. And remember, you will have the opportunity to return if you choose. If you choose once you're out of here. You don't choose here, you choose out of here. And so we don't know what we're going to choose out of here because we have to get the personality and the ego aside once we start working with soul energy and the depth of ourselves. So this is just a little piecemeal. If you're interested more in learning about your own blueprint and what you decided, get in touch with me. My name and number and all that should be on the screen for you, gailminogue.com. And then if you're lucky enough to get this program of Zoom, if you didn't see it, it's October 15th. If you didn't see it, then you can always purchase the audio on my website. That will be available to you. And you can do the whole hour and a half, and there's a whole lot more information about our time here, our time out of here, many, many things of nature and how nature and all the symbols and signs that we no longer can read because we don't know how to read nature anymore. When I tell people that there's a bush that has a tick on it, and that the bush knows when a mammal walks by a bush, like a deer or another mammal walks by the bush, it emits a gas. The bush emits a gas so that the tick will jump on the mammal that's walking by and then feed on the mammal that's walking by. This is how nature is always, always working together. And we think we have dominion over it. We haven't a clue. And the same goes with the human body, that we must learn and pay attention. And people who are runners and marathons and triathlons, and they run with their pain, you know, I think, what are they, nuts? Or just disrespectful? And there's an old sort of Zen saying that if you ride your horse too hard and you don't take care of the horse, it will throw you off. So that's my happy thought for today. I look forward to seeing you again, and we'll do another YouTube. But maybe you can also get to my website and get more information on this subject matter if this interests you. Thanks, and I always appreciate your tuning in. Thank you very much.